We have a chat sports challenge going on right now. One person on a Dolphins video of all channels commented 84 times on a singular video. So if you want to get a shout out here at Chat Sports, I need your help to break that record. The Dolphins suck. Their quarterback underthrows Tyreek Hill every throw. We've got to beat that. I need one of you or multiple of you. Comment Cowboys or Dallas, or even just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. 84 times on this video so we can show the Cowboys Nation is the #1 fan base here at Chat Sports. You guys are watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, and it's a mailbag, as I'm sure you could tell by the headline on this video. Answering all of your questions live starting with a super chat from Mighty Ant 0215. Is Lindstrom smarter than Tyler Biadasz? He did identify the fronts and make the calls at Boston College, but it's not like Wisconsin's a bad school, so I have no idea. I don't know if smarts are the issue for either player, though. Lindstrom, if you were worried about power up front, that's his big red flag as well. From Nate Rosario, trade Travis Kelce, Kittle, or Gronk? Again, you're not going to get those guys. Why? I can't believe we had two different Travis Kelce trade questions here on today's live show. Chiefs trying to win games right now. They're going to keep Kelce. Kittle's not going anywhere. I think Gronk's going to either retire or go back to the Bucs in the end. Jamie Kincaid, should the Cowboys trade for DK Metcalf? I'd love to. You think Catboy's going to give up a first-round pick and then pay DK Metcalf $20 million to $25 million bucks? Hell no. And by the way, Seattle, they could have shopped DK at the draft. They did not. I don't think the Seahawks are actually going to trade away DK Metcalf, so look, I'd love to get him. I'm not going to get my hopes up for that one, though. From Boondock Saint, do you see the discount Cowboys trading one of their safeties and the first-round pick for Quandre Diggs? No. Quandre Diggs is not worth a first-round pick. Not at his age. He's got maybe 3 or 4 years left, but he's not worth a first-round pick. Like, that's just not sensible. For the Cowboys. And Seattle just paid him, so then they're not going to trade him either. Sack 77. What are you going to do when Tyler balls out this year? Do you mean Biadasz or Smith? I assume you mean Smith. If it's Smith, be very, very excited and be hyped that you have your long-term, I would say, left tackle and a stopgap at left guard. And by the way, even if Smith doesn't ball out, it's not going to be a victory lap from me. It's going to be a message of patience. Smith needs time. He's young. His technique is not great. That could get fixed this year. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, be patient. I don't think he is an instant elite player. It's an upside traits pick. You got to be patient with those guys. From Nick Trippy, trade for Harrison Smith. Got all these safety questions and no super chats. Man, I'll tell you what. Brett's going to be mad at you, Jeremy. What's new, exactly. Harrison Smith. I doubt the Vikings shop him. They seem to want to win games. They're not good to go for. They draft Lewis Seen. Twofold issue here with Harrison Smith. First up is the contract. Cheap this year. Very expensive after that. $15.3 million in both 2023 and in 2024. Plus, they just extended his deal and restructured it. I don't think so. I thought he might have made more sense had the Vikings not paid him back when they did. So will Dallas trade for a big-name player? I'm going to go with no, but I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. This question is the pinned comments on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for S or N for no. Daniel Crutchfield, how many UDFAs will make the 53-man roster? Might do a whole video on that, by the way, Daniel. I think you might be hoping for like 3 to 5. That's a lot of UDFAs. I think your kicker makes it. One of those offensive linemen, one of those receivers, 1 or 2 of those linebackers, a safety. Those are the spots that make the most sense, barring injury on the current roster construction. From Cam Kramer, Can Fowler flourish under Dan Quinn and finally reach his potential, or is he past those days? We had this graphic from earlier. Great job, Jeremy. Fowler has had 2 awesome years and then a whole lot of nothing. Great with the Jags in 2017, great with the Rams in 2019. He's only 27 right now. Turns 28 about a month before week 1 of the season. So there is still some upside and some potential. I think Dan wanted him in Dallas. There is talent and ability. I think for what you're paying him, having also paid Dorrance Armstrong and drafted Sam Williams in the 2nd round, you're not assuming Fowler is going to be the guy for you opposite Tank Lawrence. From Henry, how will the Cowboys deal with Zeke versus Pollard considering their contracts? I would assume they use both players like they have. They will force feed Zeke. They will use Pollard in spurts, and Pollard will give you more plays, and Zeke will be your thunder to Pollard's lightning. Hopefully, when teams like they did late last year say, we're going to go light box, run the football, and the Cowboys literally could not run the football at all last year down the stretch, the Cowboys will say, okay, now we can run the football with either of those two. From Brandon, hey, Tom, big fan, but what if we use Pollard as a receiver? Sure, he's small, but him in the slot could mean another offensive threat. I don't think you're going to use him as a full-time receiver, but I do think utilizing him in running back packages with Zeke out there, whether it's, 20 personnel, 21 personnel, and especially when you're going to be down Gallup most likely for week 1, I would almost rather put Zeke and Pollard out there than, say, a Noah Brown, even a James Washington potentially. So, full-time receiver, no. Put him on the field, yes. A lot of Pollard questions today. How about that? From Mighty Ant 0215, a super chat. Thank you, my friend. Do you think we re-sign Pollard? I don't know. He will hit the open market. And if there's one thing we know, it's that the Cowboys, at minimum, once hit the open market, will only match the offers. The running back position, I think when we sit down this time next year, it could look very, very different than what it does right now. Hopefully the first-round rookie Tyler Smith provides some better run blocking up the middle than what the Cowboys had for a good portion of last year. The chemistry was all out of sorts on the offensive line last year. You can get his jersey right now, chatsports.com/Tyler Smith jersey. Links in the comments and in the description. From Logan Northern, pair Fowler with our defense line, he will produce. I hope so. I hope that with Tank Lawrence and Micah Parsons and hopefully better growth from your interior defensive linemen that you do get better play on the front from that standpoint there. I think Armstrong's going to start. That's what the contract says. But there will be some real competition along that entire defensive line for the Cowboys, and I am quite excited to see how it all plays out. DeLunatic, faith in offensive line coach Joe Philbin. To be honest, no. That also worries me when it comes to fixing Smith's technique and whatnot. Because although Terrence Steele got better this year, the whole rotating left guards and benching players, the collapse of the offensive line can be tied directly to that moment. That moment when they kept shuffling and changing everything, and it just threw the offensive line off. And I think what is super undervalued when it comes to the offensive line is this: the fact that you need chemistry and consistency and stability. And the Cowboys, by their own decisions, lost that, and they took it away from the offensive line. So I had faith in Philbin. Now I don't. He's got to earn it back, for me at least. Ethan the Boss for life. What are the ways he can keep his job, in your opinion? Super Bowl, NFC Championship, win at least one playoff game, and that last one might be a maybe, to be honest. A lot of pressure on McCarthy. There will be a ton of noise on him from the fan base and from media all season long, so we'll see how that ends up going down in the end. I'm curious to see what happens on that front. How long have you guys been a Dallas Cowboys fan? Drop the year for me in the comment section. By the way, a big shout out to Big Phil, who already did the 84 or more comments. I see he's got what is it, 81, 82, 83 on that, or 85 now from Big Phil. So thank you. Let me know how many years you've been a Cowboys fan in the comments right now. Chris Snow, who's the better UDFA, Bell or Wilson for the safety position? I have Marquise Bell graded as the higher player at safety. Now, I'm not sure what you mean by Wilson. It's Thomas and Van Zant at the other UDFAs. If you mean Bell or Donovan Wilson, I think is what you're asking. I'm going to stick with Donovan Wilson because I've seen him play at a higher level. I think both guys could, though, make the team. Right on cue, here's Big Phil. Who do you have winning the NFC East? Easily Cowboys, but Eagles got a good team. Not convinced they won't do Eagles things, though. I have the Cowboys winning the NFC East. I think Philadelphia, though, unquestionably is the biggest threat in the division because they've got a great roster, and if their quarterback takes a step forward, they're going to be really dangerous. It's a question of, do you actually believe in Jalen Hurts, though? From Jared Sandstrom, should Dallas trade for a wide receiver like Laviska Shenault or Jalen Reagor? Sure, why not? They'll probably be pretty cheap. I also ain't going to be mad if the Cowboys don't acquire either player. Reagor has been a bust in Philadelphia, but could be a punt return option for you. Shenault has put up decent-ish numbers, but he also had the dropsies last year, and that's a bit of a red flag. And as bad as that wide receiver room should have been, or was for Jacksonville, I would have expected more out of Shenault. I would assume that both guys are not as good as Jalen Tolbert, and maybe in the same level as Washington, who you already acquired, which means special teams, they have to help there. Shenault doesn't really, and Reagor also isn't a great punt returner. So I'm fine with it, but I ain't going to be mad if they don't get either player. When it comes to trades, I want you guys to name a player who you want to trade for. Keep it somewhat realistic. No Aaron Donalds. Let me know in the comments. From Chris Snow, if Williams has a better year than D-Law, do we worry? Depends on how the year happens, right? Is it Tank Lawrence had 10 sacks and Sam Williams had 12? If so, no, we feel awesome. Is it Tank Lawrence busted his foot again, had 3 sacks in 5 games, and Sam Williams had 5 sacks total? Yeah, we're going to be worried. Just a better year by Sam Williams isn't necessarily cause for concern. Totally depends on how they get there from the production standpoint. From Ben Loving, who's the best fit in free agency left, including cap space? Well, cap space isn't an issue. At least it shouldn't be, but it is a self-imposed one from that standpoint there. I wouldn't mind a receiver. I wouldn't mind pursuing like a cheap special teams option. You know, I think Chester Rogers, you go who? Exactly my point. Is out there as a free agency option. I wouldn't hate a defensive lineman, but can you afford Ndamukong Suh as the bigger name? Maybe, maybe not. It's just a matter of how aggressive the Cowboys want to be in terms of the remaining free agency left. If you want Cowboys news and rumors all offseason long, you've come to the right spot. Hit that big red button and subscribe for free daily videos right here on the Dallas Cowboys Report. From Nate Rosario, can we trade for Jordan Dangerfield and draft Will Levis? You just trolled producer Jeremy successfully. Jordan Dangerfield is a free agent and is 31 years old, so sure, of course you can. You can sign him right now. Will Levis is a massive upside project, a quarterback that, of course, doesn't really make any sense. Logan Northern, Dak was mentally off at the end of last season, missing simple reads on film, making incompetent throws. His confidence looked absent. Worries me. What about you? I think you have a little bit of high expectations for Dak because even in his bad stage, and Dak wasn't playing at the same level he was at the beginning of his season, he wasn't a disaster like the Super Chat kind of reads as a little bit there. He did make mistakes. You needed better play out of your franchise QB, but it wasn't like he shit the bed and became Mark Sanchez. Like, he was still playing at a top 15 quarterback level, just not the top 5 level he was at the beginning of the year. So, honestly, the root cause, that offensive line was not good. And when you are asked to have success when the opposing team is getting home with 4, it typically doesn't go very well. There were plenty of mistakes by Prescott, but honestly, he's not very high on the worry list for me right now. From El Tino, any undrafted free agents who can return kicks? Well, you've got Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle for the kick side of it. Punts, however, you have nothing proven since you're not going to put Lamb or Diggs back there at this point. So the issue is for the Cowboys is that the guys they've signed haven't really returned punts. Drummond returned like 8 or 9 at Ole Miss in his career. That's not very many. What I would do is I'd take all those receivers and say, all right, guys, give you a chance. Can you do it? And if they show that they can, awesome. If they don't, you have got to look at free agency and trade options because punt returner is one of the most obvious unfilled holes on this roster because they don't have that much. Alan Williams, I don't know if you discussed this or not, but what about signing Julio Jones? We've discussed this many a time on the Cowboys Report. I feel like somebody said something that I just haven't seen about making it a link, but whatever. Sure, I think Julio's washed. I really do. He has not been good for 2 years. The injuries have really added up. Cheap 1-year deal? Sure thing. Let's ride. Am I getting mad if they don't sign him? No, because he's not the prime Julio that we all remember in the end. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter for more Cowboys content, if you have questions, please do so. I'm on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney.